Hi everyone, my name is Brittany. I'm a realtor here in Northeast Florida, serving St. Johns County, Duval County, and the beaches. And today I want to talk to you about something that many people have very strong opinions about, and that is whether or not you should live in an HOA. Now, hopefully by the end of this video, if you're not sure what your preference is, you will be able to determine if that's something that you would consider in the future or not. So first things first, what is an HOA? It's a Homeowners Association. And basically what that is an organization of people who oversee a community or a condo building, and they have these rules in place for everyone to follow to make sure that everything stays kept up nice, the common areas, the amenities, and if people don't comply, they could end up getting fined for not abiding by the HOA rules. So like with anything else in life, there are pros and there are cons. Let's start with the pros. So the first pro I have is generally the quality of life is better in HOA communities. And the reason for that is because they have more amenities. It could range from anything from a gym and a pool to also tennis courts, racquetball courts, pools, parks, playgrounds, basketball courts. All of these things are covered by the HOA. Now, of course, there are fees involved, and typically the more amenities you have, the higher your HOA may be. It also is going to depend on how many people live in that community or in that condo building. Fees can be monthly, quarterly, or annually, and they can be pretty low or they can be on the higher end, depending on where you live. But what's nice about this is you get all these extra amenities without adding any extra work for you. You're not the one that has to maintain keeping up the pools and the grounds and the parks and the courts. You can just enjoy them. So some of the rules that you also might see, you typically want to make sure that you're getting the weeds out of your yard, you're mowing regularly so that your home doesn't look disheveled, and you can't leave giant eyesore objects in your front yard for all your neighbors to see as they drive by your house. And all of this is designed so that it keeps the community looking nice and cohesive and well kept. Also, any of the work, any improvements that you make or anything that you add to your home has to be approved by the HOA. So if you're putting up a fence or you're extending your roof line or you want to add on to your house, all of that has to be approved by the HOA. And a reason why that is a good thing too is they're going to make sure that it's being done properly, and you're not going to have someone who isn't licensed or isn't doing anything that's actually not to code. And that'll end up just becoming a problem for you later when you go to sell your house. Ultimately, the biggest pro to this is it's going to ensure that your home and your neighbors' homes are protecting their equity by keeping their homes well kept, which of course is extremely important whenever you go to sell your home. Okay, now we're going to talk about the cons. Obviously, the restrictive covenants, which we kind of touched on earlier, that's where you can't just do whatever you want whenever you want. You do have to get changes approved by the HOA. This would also include maybe painting your house. You can't just paint it any color you want. There are possibly going to be restrictions on that. If you have a vehicle, maybe with your business information on the side of it, you can't just leave that in your driveway or in the street sometimes. Again, depending on the HOA and how strict they are. So there are limitations as to what you can and cannot do. Next is when you do make these changes and you have to get approval from the HOA, you have to wait on them to respond. And then the other con is on top of having to maintain your own yard and make sure everything is well kept, you do have to pay those HOA fees, whether they're monthly, quarterly, or annually. That is something that you have to think about, and that's why I bring up this video, so that if you're ever house hunting in the future and your realtor wants to show you a home that's in an HOA and you haven't lived in an HOA before, they're gonna need to account for those expenses, and you're gonna need to make sure that you're not agreeing to buy a home that is gonna be a little bit out of your price range if the HOA happens to push you out of that price point. All right, so I hope this video is helpful. If it was and you would like to hear more information about the home buying process or about Northeast Florida, learning about the Jacksonville area, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be pumping out a lot more content for you so you can get a good idea of what it's like out here, the type of homes that are around. And of course, if you're planning on moving to the area soon, or if you already live here and you need a realtor, please reach out. I'd love to connect and see how I can help you in the future. Bye-bye.